Hello, welcome to the Reasonably Effective podcast. I am Uncommon Fossil, and joining me, as always, is 10 Types. Why don't you say hello?
Yep. Hello, everyone.
Very well said. So, this past week has been one of much news for a lot of new cards. Pokemon is really pumping out information. We are about 2 weeks away from Paldean Fates coming out. There hasn't been much about that. Largely, that's a lot of it's going to be like shiny or whatever the special arts and finishes on cards. But then Temporal Forces comes out late March, and we also have rotation hitting. So we kind of want to consider the new cards and with rotation, how these new cards are going to help fill the void for some of these old cards. Did I sum up correctly there?
Yeah, one thing I want to say is that all the cards that we've seen revealed aren't necessarily gonna be coming in Temporal Forces. I think actually most of these will, but there's some
Yeah,
that we talked about. I think it was last week or it might have been 2 weeks ago. There were some a bunch of like ancient and future Pokemon, and I don't know if they're all gonna be
yeah,
coming in Temporal Forces. Um, there's honestly more cards revealed than I expected. They could all be coming in, and I'd like it if they did, but
right.
probably a
Well,
few
yeah,
will miss the cut.
right. I mean, like there's one article which is going to be the first one I look at the first opening two sentences. A new item card has been revealed from Japan's Wild Force in Cyber Dodge, which I think comes out very soon. And then this set, yeah, releases on January 26th. We expect their cards to become part of the Temporal Forces set in March, but it says we expect. So there's often a few cards that get left out.
Yeah, usually the bad ones as well.
Yes, which then leads to a really bad set at the very end because they have to dump all this stuff at the end. But yes,
Fusion Strike.
Fusion Strike wasn't. Yeah, I mean it had one very good Pokemon and deck, and then it was a bunch of mm, whatever with it for the most part.
Yeah. But the first card we're going to talk about here today, and as you said, I think you said all these are coming post rotation, is Buddy Poffin.
Yes.
I don't know if this is the official name. It probably isn't. Wait, what is a Buddy Poffin? Is this like a thing?
I don't know. Well, the spelling is like a poffin is a type of like a penguin type thing. I don't know. I have no idea. And it looks like the what brioche, two pieces of like a toasted bread with some topping on it, right? Red and
Yeah.
green, actually, in this case. I don't know
No,
what
it's
it
like
is.
I don't know. I
Or
assume it's some
is it
like
a sweet
pastry.
thing or a savory? I have no idea what it is. So
Yeah, and like why is it like a I don't know. Anyways, if we're just idiots and it's something obvious, tell us down below in the comments. But yeah, so that doesn't really matter. What it matters is what the card does.
no.
It's an item, and I think I talked
Yep.
about this on my channel. Did you talk about it on yours?
I don't remember now. I don't normally talk about the new cards, but there has been so much I did talk about some things.
Okay. And so it's an item. And search deck. It says search your deck for up to two basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less, and put them onto your bench. Then shuffle your deck. So this is obviously kind of like Battle VIP Pass, but it can be played every turn. But
Well,
not.
it's both better and worse than Battle VIP Pass, right? It can only
Yeah,
get low HP Pokemon, but it's not first turn only.
yeah. I
And
will say
yes,
this is.
Battle VIP. Go on.
I would say this is probably worse.
I guess. Look, look. I mean, Battle VIP Pass is rotating, and I just want to talk about that in a minute. I really dislike the card. I got to say, and I started playing it more, but it's just such a random card, right? If you hit one, or if you hit two, especially turn one, you are just so set up, and if you miss it, you're just often dead in the water, and it's just too much swing on that one card, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like also I like sometimes. So I've been playing it more as well. I've been playing Lost Zone.
Yeah,
Because I'm so cool. But no, I've been playing Lost Zone, and I play four Nest Ball, four Battle VIP Pass. That's it for Pokemon Search.
yeah.
Um, and like for most of the time I just like don't draw it, but then like sometimes like there's a game where I do two, but I didn't even like need to
Yeah.
get four Pokemon. So like, I feel like the value of VIP Pass, I think it's like a card that's overhyped. Some people say it's like super good, and it's like
hmm
good, but it's not like insane. But
it's it it's just super swingy though, right? I mean, that's what I don't like.
I guess I don't think
It's
it's as swingy as like it's not as good, so it's not as swingy, but it's still good. Like a Nest Ball versus a Battle VIP Pass isn't that different, in my opinion. Like it's I mean, like if you hit two Nest Balls versus two Battle VIP Pass, you're fine either way, is what I'm
yeah.
saying.
I mean, it depends on the deck, right? How many Pokemon do you need to get in play, right, to start the game?
Yeah.
This is first. This in particularly Battle VIP Pass, obviously for low HP Pokemon. that evolve, and obviously with the EX Pokemon that are, if they evolve, they start with low HP Pokemon, so you can probably hit it. And of course, it's not a dead card after your first turn, and I like that about it too, because part of that Battle VIP pass with card decks where you can't get it out of play, you're just looking at a card that's useless when you draw into it.
Yeah. But so you said this was like low HP evolving Pokemon. You're looking at like, I mean, pretty much every basic that evolves is 70 HP or less, I think.
I
Or single prize
yeah,
basic, not V.
yeah, I'm trying to think like, are there some 80 HP too, right? Like I'm trying to think like, is there a Charmander that's 80 HP and stuff?
No,
Like, because
there's
sometimes
not. I'm pretty sure for
it's what,
that.
60 or 70 is what,
Yeah.
as you try. Um, so yeah, I mean, it means that if they want to print some at 80 HP, they have that option to make it harder to get it set up, which gives them another way to help balance the game out.
Yeah, but now I want to turn your attention to a card that someone, I think it was Twilight Jumper Enthusiast, I don't know, someone commented on a video, and I had not thought about this really at all, and that's Ditto from 151. So
That's the okay, which is the one that it's can become any Pokemon.
well, any basic, yeah. So its ability transformative start once during your first turn. If this Pokemon isn't your active, you may search your deck and choose a basic Pokemon and swap it with Ditto. It can't be another Ditto, but like, why would you do that? And then you discard
Right.
Ditto and the attached cards, and then put the Pokemon in this place, and then you shuffle your deck. So it kind of turns Buddy Puffin in a 60 HP. So it is searchable off of Buddy Poffin. You grab that, and then it's now it needs to be in the active, but
Right,
it
you have to
allows.
switch. That's my concern, right? You need two things. You need Buddy Poffin and a switch card. And otherwise, if you can't switch it, then the Ditto's just garbage.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't do anything, but I think this is really nice. And it doesn't do nothing. It has Splup.
It does have Spluff, yes. Spluff is pretty close
but
to nothing,
but
though,
it's
right?
Splup. It's Splup. No.
It's a nice look. I give them credit for the name, but yeah, 10. It's only one energy at least, right? At least they didn't make it two energy, but
Mhm.
10 damage. You know, uh,
Yeah, no, but I think it's like I like that concept. Um, I think it's a good
yeah.
concept. Like it, I mean, it just turns into like a more clunky battle VIP pass, which isn't really like a good thing for the game. But I don't think it's not like that hard to
Right.
pull off. There's a new card we'll be looking at, which I guess loosely has synergy with this, as well as like it's like kind of a switchy card. And
Hmm.
obviously there are like still the Switch and Switch card are still going to survive rotation.
Yes, and jet energy.
Yeah, there are a number of things. Although
Now,
Jet
if you
Energy, huh?
go on.
So with Jet Energy, if you attach it, like normally you can Jet Energy attach it to Comfy and then like retreat it. You can't do that here because you'll turn the Ditto into something else, and Jet Energy will get discarded.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. I just read the card. Yeah, so you lose what's attached to it. So that's a downside. But we are losing escape rope, right? And obviously
Yeah.
that's an important card, and that's a switching loss too. So I don't know if decks are going to run less switching cards or not as a result. So
I don't know. I mean, you can like if you're like an evolution deck, I guess, but evolution decks don't really like they don't run more than 4 switch. And we have Prime Catcher as well, which is like a switch. And then yeah, I don't
but
know. Like, and if you're a basic deck, like Lost Zone doesn't usually run more than 8 like item switch.
No, but I play a lot of decks that play like two switch, right? Like the old traditional Arceus deck that you play a switch and a rope, right? And I could put two switch, but if I
Yeah.
only play like in the other decks too, like if you only play like two switch in decks, then there's a good chance you're not going to have the switch to pull off the Ditto. In which case, besides the Buddy Poffin and the Ditto, then I need extra switch
Oh,
cards in
but
deck, and now I've made the deck worse,
but
probably.
Arceus doesn't play Battle VIP Pass either, does it?
No, it does not. You're right. But there's other decks that play like just two switch. That was the deck that came to mind because I that's like got a default of one switch, one rope is almost like carved in stone someplace that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't think this is necessarily as good as Battle VIP Pass, but I think it's pretty close with Ditto and obviously being able to be played on other turns. To grab like your Charmanders and Pidgeys and Frigibaxes and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I like the card, and I like the fact you can use it later. Talking rotation in mentioning Ditto, I'm sad that we're losing the Ditto that copies basic attacks because that would have been nice to get and play with
Wait,
Buddy
we are?
Poffin. I'm pretty sure, right? Unless
No.
we
I
aren't
was to say
losing the
no.
Ditto that
It came in
copies.
Pokemon Go.
Oh, it's in Go, and
Yeah,
okay, you're right. It's an F. Okay, you're right. I was thinking about it a different way. So okay, so we have that too, and that's 70 HP. So my Ditto decks are twice as good now.
exactly.
So
Now you can get all your attackers on your bench and not use them because they're on the bench.
because I can't get anything. Well, that's true too. But anyway, look, it's a nice card. We're losing Battle VIP Pass, so it's definitely a plus there. We're also losing Level Ball, right? Which is similar, covers some of the same ground as this too, right? Level Ball, which gets 90 HP or less. Now that can get evolutions, of course, which is a big loss to things like the Curlia engine too. But
Yeah. Mhm.
Buddy Poffin makes up some of what Level Ball provided.
Yeah, I think Buddy Puffin will be cool. I think enough of that though. I think people have talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
So next up we got a couple of cards here. We got a Sableye I'll talk about first. For 2 colorless, damage collector, move any number of damage cards from your opponent's bench to their active. I don't think there's too much to say about this card. I mean, it can theoretically be useful, but I think we have more interesting cards to talk about.
What now you jumped ahead. What article are you talking about now? It's the Stable Eye.
It's
Oh,
the
okay.
yeah.
All right, you
Um
skipped the mist energy.
yeah.
That's okay.
Wait, did I
That's all
skip
right.
and do it on my articles? Uh-oh, I deleted an article.
Yeah, okay.
Uh
So mist energy, which is let's see, it's got the Rabaska, which is a stage one um grass one, built what spherical shield, prevent all damage from an effects of attacks to your bench Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So that could be useful.
yeah, it's
And
interesting. I feel like it's kind of like Manaphy plus Jirachi, but it's also stage 1. Like I'd rather probably play
yeah,
Manaphy and Jirachi. Um
I would agree. And the attack here
it's not
isn't
that good.
great. So I don't know. Maybe in a grass deck you would want it, but probably not. Probably not. Um, oh, are we have the all right, what's the Grottle? Is that with the different the stage two and the stage one looks for other grass type? Is that staying in format? Or are we losing that?
Yeah, it is staying in format. I'm almost
So
certain. I'll check, I guess, but it should. It was in Brilliant Stars, so unless something weird, yep, it's staying. So I mean, you could
r-
do that, but like, you need to be
uh,
playing a grass deck at that point.
right, a grass deck because it was often with the EX Pokemon that with the evolutions, right? With energy attached or whatever, right? So um the based on damage.
Yeah,
There are some things,
Toadstool.
but it's fit. Go ahead.
Toadstool, is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah, Toad Scroll. I
Yeah.
was thinking so,
Oh,
but
and
that's
sorry,
very
by the
neat.
way, as well, if our I'm kind of out of sync because we were recording together and now we're recording separately, and we're changing some stuff up. So sorry about the some of the weird stuff. Hopefully the audio sounds good and all that as well.
Right. Yeah. More prone to talk over each other. We got to get the rhythm back. We had what 3 episodes in a row. We were sitting side by side, so adjusting. But yeah, Rabasca, we said it could be a niche Pokemon, but it's not great. And then Mist Energy provides one colorless special energy, and it prevents all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to the Pokemon this card is attached to. So again, I don't know it's going to see a ton of play. Obviously, Lugia needs special energy. It's losing. It got really crushed last year with rotation. It gets hurt, set back a little more, so maybe that plays it.
What's it
Obviously,
losing that's like that important? Is it losing anything
I think
then?
there's 2 colorless special energies we're losing. I think gift energy, they're not
No,
great,
no. I
but if
thought
you
we were
but if you're
losing. Are we? No, gift is. I think we're not losing gift. That
I
was
thought
in
they were
silver tempest. I think it's lucky and
lucky.
and
Yeah,
um and treasure.
that sounds right. Yeah, that could be.
But those aren't
There's
like good.
two.
Treasure is really bad. Um,
No, but if you're playing close Lugia, your choices are limited.
well,
That's
but they're better than treasure and gift probably. Like you could play gift. Some lists play gift, I guess, but or no, sorry, I
and of
mean
course you
lucky, not gift. I think gift's better than lucky.
Yeah, like, it hurts sets about and it's obviously losing single strike, right? We're losing all the battle styles, so
Yeah.
single strike Lugia is a thing of the past. So I'm just saying, but the biggest thing is like something like Giratina V-Star that blows up like tanky Pokemon. Obviously, there's decks that you're designed to tank, not get one shot, and something like Giratina is scary. So maybe it could go in a deck in something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, especially with both Giratina and Roaring Moon around, it stops Sableye. It has some like value, but I think I think it'll see some play. Obviously, potentially in the future, we'll see better like effects attacks, but I don't know. Right now, they're like pretty decent, so I don't know if they'll get it much better.
Yeah, I mean, Mist Energies maybe, but maybe not for play, right?
Yeah, I think it'll see some play, especially because like Jirachi saw play, and in my opinion, Jirachi wasn't good. Like I played with it. I played against it because, as I said, I played Lost Zone, and like I don't really mind it. Like it's not ideal if my opponent plays Jirachi, but it's not like that bad either. So
It also shuts off Snorlax. No, not Snorlax Stall. I don't know if Mawile is rotating, but anything that has a can't retreat effect that gets taken away, right?
yeah,
As well as
attack.
poison and burn, right?
Um,
Effects of attacks.
yeah, yeah, it will stop attacks inflicting special conditions, but it won't remove the special condition. Um,
Correct.
yeah, I think this card's pretty cool. Um, we'll see how good it is. I think it'll see some play at some point. But I don't know for what. I think, like, as you said, Coast, it could play this. I might chuck in a copy of it because, like, Liga kind of wants to be tanky. But we'll see.
Right. I mean, I've been playing a few tanky decks, and obviously, yeah, like you said, Roaring Moon as well as Giratina is a scary matchup. So maybe one or two copies. Yeah, we'll see. It's a card I like in that it's an okay card that could see play, but it's not overpowered. So that's where I like things personally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. And then the article I skipped to, I don't think there's much to say about Sableye, right?
No. Well, the second attack is an interesting one. Damage collector, move any number of damage counters your opponent's benched Pokemon to their active. Is that going to be good? I'm not sure, right? It doesn't. I don't. I'm just not sure.
Yeah. I think, well, potentially, like you mentioned, Dudunsparce, like you can use double turbo and it's not negatively affected. But like, I don't know. I think time will tell. But right now,
Yeah, it's
it's not the time for it.
no,
It's
no.
worse than Tapu Lele as well, right? You don't move damage anywhere. It's only to one Pokemon. It could be useful,
Hmm.
but it's not amazing.
Right. I guess the question is this a Gardevoir counter?
Um,
Something like that.
I don't know. I mean,
I
I
don't know.
feel
I'm
like
just trying to
probably
think.
not, because it's kind of like they're usually only gonna put damage on one Pokemon, and that Pokemon will be like, yeah, you could take Chaos with this, but you're not like doing anything better than just a normal attack.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah.
And in
Yeah.
fact,
No.
you're
I'm just
healing
trying.
off the Pokemon that has all the damage on it.
Right.
So
And that is a big downside.
yeah, especially for
Well,
Gardevoir.
there are some, right, some of the new cards that do more damage if you have damaged Pokemon. So maybe it becomes a counter to that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I think we
Yeah.
should talk about the Dunsparce now. Now, though. Oh, and first of all,
Yes.
Dunsparce, the one that stops weakness for colorless Pokemon, is rotating. I don't think that's a big deal. Do you think that's a big deal?
No, it hasn't seen a lot of play. At the heyday of Arceus, it saw some play.
Mhm. And same thing with
Um,
Lugia.
right, but it hasn't seen much play in a while. Look, it would be good if it was obviously better if it was around, especially because we have one of the more recent Pokemon with its ability. You'd probably play it in this deck, but it
Wait,
you know
what?
the one that lets you. No, forget. I'm completely wrong on that. So forget that. I was thinking copying attacks, but obviously this is an ability. Abilities
Oh,
don't
yeah, yeah,
come through. So um, you probably play that. You might play that one in some decks if it's colorless deck. The other Dunsparce, but it's not a big deal.
yeah. I heard some people saying that like they think it's one of the bigger losses from rotation. Um, I don't think so. The only reason I'd say that is if like the other losses aren't meaningful.
Right, and I love playing Arceus in particular, and I Dunsparce is something I played at times, but not most of the time, and I haven't played it in a while.
Yeah. But anyway, so to Dunsparce, do you want to read it?
Yeah, so it's a stage one, 140 HP, so that's a solid HP on a single prize stage one. Its retreat cost is 3, so that's rough, but it's got the ability it's really a bench Pokemon with a dashing draw ability. Again, those translations may or not be correct of the name, but once during your turn, you may draw 3 cards. If you do, shuffle this Pokemon and all attached cards into your deck. So it's kind of it's not the search of the old Drizzile, but it's kind of Drizzile with Scoop Up Net combined in that sense because you get it out of play. You actually get it into your deck. So it's not your hand, but all you play it, you use the ability, and then it gets out of play immediately because it's a dead card at that point. So I like that shuffle back aspect, and drawing 3 is quite nice.
Okay,
You
you
don't
say
you don't like what I
I
said.
don't know. I think I wouldn't compare it to Durzile.
Well,
Um,
the drizzle point is it's a card that you was a non-playability, and then you want to get out of play a lot of
yeah,
times. You scooped it
yeah,
up,
or it's
right?
not actually. It's just better than a non-playability because you can do it whenever.
Which one? Oh,
Didn't.
that's true. Oh, I was thinking it was on play. You're right. It's not. So you can play it and leave it. It shuffles away when you decide to activate it.
Yeah,
Okay, and it's 140 HP. So if you leave it there, it's not getting sniped as easily as some other Pokemon.
yeah. So I mean, I think it's okay. Obviously, drawing three is good. We have a bunch of
Well,
different engines.
drawing 3 is quite good, right? I mean, adding
Well,
3 to your current hand is very good.
yeah, but we've seen cards that are like on play draw three. There was the one I think of off the top of my head, I think is Manectric, but there have been like a bunch that are kind of like that. Like there's the Crobat line, which like hasn't really seen any, like they've seen play in weird niche things, but like haven't really seen play. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it's okay. You can search out the basic with Buddy Poffin, which is actually pretty nice.
Right, you get 2 on the bench, which is what you're going to want to do because you're going to want to either get 2 in a turn or kind of stagger it so you're getting 1 per turn.
Yeah, and it kind of allows you to like churn through your deck. It's kind of
Yeah.
anti-Iona, which is nice, anti-Judge. I think I kind of like it.
Hmm. Well, it's anti-Ono in both that gets you cards if you're only getting a couple cards with Ono. Plus, it shuffles your deck, and there are times you want to shuffle your deck, right?
Yeah,
As
that's
well.
true. There are times you don't as well. I think there
Yeah,
are probably about as many either way.
that's true. I think it's a pretty intriguing card. I'm like, I don't think we're losing any big engines with rotation. We're losing a card like Mew from Celebrations that gets you something, but we're not losing. A year ago, we lost. With the Intelligent engine going away, we lost a big piece. I don't think we're losing big engines this time, but I like this as an engine. It's not is as good as Curlia or Barrel, probably not. But I've certainly enjoyed messing around with the Zatu engine, which is fun but inconsistent. I think this will perform better than certainly the Zatu engine for in terms of consistency.
Well, the
So
Zatu engine's yeah, the Zatu engine's like really powerful, but like because
because
it
it accelerates,
yeah, but also again it's just like least consistent. I feel like comparing it to Zatu doesn't really make
I know
I
it's
don't know,
the
maybe it kind of is because you need like a card, you need to like get certain cards for it to work. And this time you need you need to get the Dudunsparces over and over again. And keep in mind like if you're drawing Dudunsparces, those are cards that aren't like cards that you need. So you're
right.
kind of like you're like not exactly drawing three cards. You're like drawing maybe like two, but that's like still good if you're drawing two. Um, I don't know.
I think it's really intriguing, is what I'll say. I mean, I'm looking forward to messing around with this. Whether it's going to how successful it will be, I don't know, but I think to me it opens up options that I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to messing around with.
Yeah, and it does open up your bench, which means that like late game, if you
Hmm.
like are out of bench space, you can just like get them off and then get like all your Dudunsparces off and then play down your basics that you need, or whatever,
Yeah.
which could be good, but I don't know if
Yeah,
it's that good.
there's definitely decks where you fill up the bench and you're in trouble, right? Uh,
Yeah, but
That you have to
at that point
can't
you're
bench
still
things.
filling up your bench like most of the game. So
You are, although hey, we still keep Collapse Stadium, right? Is staying in format, so a full bench, get rid of the big HP Pokemon, and then you can free up some more spaces to bench something back down again. Uh, you
that's
know,
true.
Look, I think is it it's not is it as good as the Curly engine? No. Is it good as the Barrel Squovit? No. But it's a little different. It's interesting. I think that's what I say.
Yeah.
and it's tankier than either of those. Certainly, the Curlias
Well, yeah,
are
but
weak.
like, okay. Um,
You don't
I'm not a believer. I'm
you
not a
don't
believer.
like it.
No, I think
Yeah,
it could be funny. I think it's kind of cool. I like the. It reminds me kind of Flapple, or which is kind of like Starmie, which like clears your bench when you use its ability, which I kind of like. But yeah.
yeah.
Um.
It's an interesting thought to me, but anyway, we're moving on.
Yeah. Actually, let's skip Hero's Cape. That's the next one, right?
Yeah, you want to save that with the A specs and the other A
Yeah.
specs.
Um. And so we have Uniclus here, and Uniclus. So I did like a giveaway a few weeks ago, and the thing that like it was like give me a deck idea, or it was no a video idea. I
Yeah,
don't think anyone actually submitted any video ideas, which is a bit unfortunate. But some people submitted deck ideas. The one that won was Orbital. I
yeah.
don't think I'm actually gonna make it. I played it.
Tell everybody what the orbital does because it doesn't.
Orbital, yeah. So it's a stage two.
Yep,
And for each energy attached to it, not card, but energy, so you could use reversal, double turbo. But you
yep.
search your deck for a stage two and put it straight onto your bench, which means you can kind of accelerate stage twos or something like that, which is kind of fun. It was really bad. It was like really or really not good. It just didn't work. It was like a control you build and it didn't work. So
Yeah.
anyway, moving on to Reuniclus, it's a attack here, summoning gate. For one color, let's look at the top 8 cards of your deck and put any number of Pokemon you find there onto your bench. Shuffle the other cards into your deck. This is kind of like Orbital. It's less consistent. It's kind of like a Chandelure, I believe is. I think that's the right card. But that was
Okay.
different. That did, in addition to putting Pokemon into your bench, it did like massive amounts of damage.
Hmm.
So that was better, and even that wasn't that good. It did play like 40 Pokemon though, so that was kind of funny. Not very good, but funny.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's a stage 2 makes it almost unplayable, because I was thinking, right, because getting a stage 2, you're probably not even getting into play turn 2 most of the time, right? And then this uses your attack. It's not an ability either. So it's pretty random what you're gonna hit. We do have the supporter we're gonna get to that you can guarantee the top 2 in your deck, so something like that, maybe you pair with it, but, that's just a lot of work to probably when you have better options, I would think.
Yeah, there's also an item card we're gonna look at that helps out stage twos, but it's not like that good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if this isn't like, it's funny. I'm definitely gonna play it. It's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be bad because I was thinking, look, if it was a stage 1, I don't even think it's gonna be good, and if it was a basic, I'm not really sure how good it would be as a basic,
No, I think it would
quite
be
frankly.
broken as a race. I think it would be okay as a
I
stage one.
mm, I don't know. You still can't do it your first
Well,
turn,
but it's
use
in
your
control.
attack.
In control.
Yeah, but okay. I mean, in control, alright, but just control, not attacking
Yeah,
decks
pretty
probably,
much.
right?
Probably just control.
Because you can't give up, like, multiple turns just setting up
Yeah,
to start doing damage. Okay, so it's an interesting card, but I see. I think the Dunsparce is a much more interesting card than Reuniclus because I just think it's much more playable.
yeah. I guess. I don't know. I think this is more interesting. I think it's funny, but I don't think it's good. Um, yeah.
No, it's a meme deck to just try and say, look what I'm trying to do here. Oh, it didn't work. That's what I think it is.
Hmm. So, what do you want to talk about next? Do you want to talk about the ace specs? Do you want to talk about the other new reveals?
Why don't we do the A specs and then do the other reveals?
Okay. So, first of all, we have Hero's Cape here, which is a sorry, I'm like the Pokebeach's ads are just what. uh,
Yeah, I know it's nonstop ads and videos,
like, is this
and
even
it's
like legal? Like, I think it is. Anyway, um,
all right. Well,
so
I don't know what you're seeing, so
um, it's fine, I guess. Anyway, so Hero's Cape has is an ace spec. It's a tool. And
yep.
the Pokemon this card is attached to gets plus 100 HP, which is simple. It's kind of like Luxurious Cape, but it's
Right.
better. Um, so yeah, this is interesting. Obviously, 100 extra HP is really big. Um,
Y- Yeah. And it's not limited. There's no restrictions to non-rule box or basics or evolution or anything like that. So it's 100 on anything, which is good. And as a tool, you can recover it easier, right? Because you could have at least Roseanne's backup, right? To a support is guaranteed to recover it if you want to keep recycling it.
yeah, I was gonna say a few ways. I was gonna say Grand Ball, but I think that's rotating. But yeah, there's some ways to recover it.
Yeah.
The big thing I don't like about it, or any ace spec tool, is lost vacuum, which is lost owns it, which is bad for you.
Yes.
It's not like
Hmm.
the most common card, but it certainly sees play, and so that'd
Yeah.
be bad
Now,
for
lost
that.
vacuum, we're losing past to the peak, so I think lost vacuum is gonna drop off, right? Because a lot of times, half the decks that play it are there so they can get rid of lost vacuum.
Yeah, that's probably true. Probably most of the decks that play it are there to go to path.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a tool. It does make it more vulnerable. You can grab it with what Pokemon Store, if I'm getting the name right, the stadium.
Town store.
Town Store, sorry, yeah, sorry. So you have ways to get it potentially, and you can recover it. 100 HP is good. How often is this? Obviously you only get one ace spec, so how does it stack up? I don't think it's going to get played in most decks, certainly though.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't think it'll be played in like average decks. I think Prime Catcher's better. Um, they're not exactly comparable, but they kind of are.
Right.
Um, but then it's like I was thinking, so Luxurious Cape's played obviously some, not a ton, but would you play this with Luxurious Cape as like an upgrade? And I think you might, but you might not. But
Yeah.
then especially because like there isn't computer search, which is just like, or so far we haven't seen computer search, which
Right.
is obviously like computer search is like good for setup, but there isn't really good setup. The only setup a spec that's universal is Master Ball, which is not that good. So
Right.
like if you're a stage two deck, like Prime Catcher versus like Luxurious or versus Hero's Cape, it like doesn't really matter for setup. But I don't know. I think and then this with there are some super tanky options. Like you can get a Pokemon
Yeah.
with like 500 HP, which is like really scary.
Hmm.
Um, not like actually 500, but like yeah, pretty much. So there are
You
ways to
can get
take less damage. There's something I'm going to talk about later that is kind
right,
of big.
and there's a number of Pokemon that do damage based upon damage counters on them. So now you have the potential for this Pokemon to one shot anything because you can pile on the damage counters above 300
Yeah, I
too,
guess like
depending.
Gardevoir will probably like this. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I think they'll play it right because they're probably going to be relying
What's it going on? Because
probably on
Gardevoir's losing the Gardevoir and the Zacian V,
yeah,
right?
but on Screamtail and Screamtail
Yeah.
would play like Lazarus Cape, which is kind of good, but like also obviously gives them an extra prize. And
Right.
this doesn't, and I feel like Prime Catcher is like pretty mediocre in that. I mean, it's like good, but it's not nothing insane. I don't know. There's some like because there's
Yeah.
Cryptomaniac's Deciphering or whatever the one that the supported this semi reprint of Mallow that looks at your deck puts any two cards on top, which is
Yeah.
like kind of good with Prime Catcher. But I think Hero's Cape's pretty good in that deck.
No, yeah. Yeah, no, it'll see play. It's certainly not it's not gonna be the go-to ace spec though. I'm pretty certain of that though.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't think there's too much more to say about that.
Right.
It could lead to some big Pokemon. Yeah.
Oh, the other ace specs that were out, if you're not familiar, before this, there was Prime Catcher, which is Guzma. There is Neo Upper Energy, which is two of of all energies on a stage two, and then Master Ball Search for any one Pokemon. So
Yeah.
those were the ones that were out, I think, before this,
Yeah.
and so
Before our that we've talked about on the previous podcast or podcasts.
and those were all that had been revealed to that point of I think Heroes Cape coming out, right? I think there's six
Yeah.
in total now that we know
Yeah,
of.
we've seen six. They're gonna be seven in the set.
Right.
So I'm gonna say I hope the last one's but I forgot the name of the card. Scoop of Cyclone. There we go. I hope it's that because that'd be fun. It might be broken,
Yeah.
or might not. It probably wouldn't be broken, but it seems fun. But it probably won't be
Right.
that
Yeah, we'll see. Right. We and then right. So we know six of the seven, and I think what there's going to be 11 or 13. I guess we don't know about that
in
yet.
total.
Yeah, I
Yeah, we
guess we
don't.
don't
I know.
know
I
that.
think probably more. Like it seems weird that they'd drop like a bunch in seven in one set and then just like a few in the sets after. I don't
Yes.
know though. I'd love it if there were like 20. That
Yeah.
seems like a decent number, but especially if they do some more specific ones. But anyway, let's talk about the next ones. So first of all, you
Yep.
have Drum of Awakening here. And the next one's the one's ancient, the one's future.
Yep.
So Drum of Awakening, and we're gonna switch it up this time because I'll be talking about the ancient one. Uh, so Draw a card for
But
each
um
of your
bum,
yeah, because uncommon fossil's old. Uh, so
as you
anyway,
like to point out.
yeah, I mean it's in your name.
True
Yeah.
enough.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so Drum of Awakening, it's an item. Both these are items, and they are the ones ancient.
Yep.
The one is future. They don't just interact with those Pokemon, but they are actually that type of card, which kind of matters. Oh, and
Yep.
ace specs. I guess I should say you can only have one ace spec, but aside from that, they're more or less normal cards. They're not Prism Stars, so they don't go to the Lost Zone or anything like
Right.
that. Not that that matters a ton, but could matter some. But Drum of Awakening is an item. Draw a card for each of your ancient Pokemon in play. Very simple. It can draw a lot of cards. There are some ancient Pokemon that got revealed that, long story
Hmm.
short, want a bunch of ancient Pokemon in play. Um,
Yeah.
and I've like so if you're playing, if this is, I think it needs to be draw four is very good value. I mean, well, no, I mean draw two is good value, but like draw four is better than prime catcher. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
comparable exactly, but like that's where I'd say like you need to be drawing four for it to be your ace spec.
Okay. I'm just going to say this. You were harsh on the Dudunsparce, which draws three, and then
There's
but
a
doesn't
stage
have.
one that you
I
need
know,
to
but
like
this
set
is
up.
but you still but this is a one-off card in your deck that can't means you can't play something else. So is four that much?
Well, no, I
Anyway.
don't think Dudunsparce is like trash. I don't think it's. I'd choose to play Curlier over it. I think like probably,
Hmm.
and they're very similar cards. So if there's a card that I'm saying, oh, I'd rather play this card, then it's gonna, even if it's only
Yeah.
slightly better, it'll see way more play.
Okay. But
But yeah, Drum Awakening, I think I like this. I mean, I think it's
yeah.
potentially really powerful.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. I mean, obviously, it's only for ancient decks, so it's not gonna be universal. But and even for ancient decks, it's still gonna be decision, right? Because the prime catcher may be better or something else. Probably prime catcher would be the one I would guess. Maybe heroes. Yeah, probably prime catch. So, uh, but it's a nice draw. You have to get it, and of course you play it once and you don't get it back again. Probably you can Silene to get these items back, but on top of your deck that is. But that's probably not really what you're going to do.
Yeah, especially like just play a supporter at that point.
Yeah.
Even it could be better than a supporter, which is nice. Like this is, well, I was gonna say this is the only ace spec that can be better than a supporter. One, that's kind of a stupid thing to say because the one's a special energy and the one's a tool, but
Right.
uh, that's not really true. But Drum of Awakening, I think is like really good. Like in
Hmm.
ancient, I think pretty much every ancient focused. Like I don't think Roaring Moon will play this. I
Well, right,
could.
which is the ancient deck right now, because in that then plays sometimes the Darkrai V Star, which doesn't rotate. And does the Morpeko rotate? No, that doesn't
No,
rotate
no,
either,
that
right?
came out in the same set. So,
Yeah, which aren't ancient Pokemon. So it also means you probably can't mix non-ancient Pokemon in your deck, which means you can't play an engine then, right?
well, you think you can play some? Uh, I wouldn't play it too many. I don't know. I don't think it would go in that deck. It gets you. It's like draw two, maybe draw three, so it's not that
Yeah.
good.
You could have a one-card engine, one deck slot on the engine, probably, if you're going to play Drum of Awakening, I would think.
Oh, one bench spot, you mean?
Yeah, whether it's a basic or an evolution, you don't want to give up more slots that hurt Drum of Awakening, probably, if this is
I
your
guess.
ace
I mean,
spec.
Dream of Waking isn't like a build around card. It's just a nice addition, just like
Yeah,
Prime Catcher. Um,
yeah. No, look, it's a good card. I like it. And we'll get into more ancient Pokemon to see the synergy there, but it doesn't take it over the top, which is probably a good thing. The ancient decks, I don't think.
Yeah,
I
and right now we don't have any like quote ancient deck. We have Roaring Moon, which is like
Right,
the main attacker, but it's not really an ancient deck. Um, and I think
right,
that's it. Oh no, there's some like I don't know, like there's some other things, but they're not that good, and they're not like all ancient. So
right.
yeah, I think Drone Awakening's like is good. I don't there's nothing. It doesn't like do anything crazy. It doesn't do anything
Mm,
new either. But I think it's a good card.
yeah, I think since it's limited to ancient decks, I think it could have been better. I honestly, the next card this is the one that excites me a lot more. I think you don't see this one as good, and that's going to be Reboot Bot,
Yeah.
which is the
Okay, I'll say
future
I do
ace.
think this one is. It's probably better. Um, but I think they're close in value.
Okay, I mean it
Actually, no,
obviously
I don't know.
depends.
Yeah, this one like does something. As I said, Drum of Awakening doesn't like. Well, it also no, it does something different. Drum of Awakening just like
Yeah,
draws a bunch of cards, which is nice, but it can't ever really enable it deck. But this card, well, we'll talk about this card.
right. There's other ways to draw cards. That's the one thing, right? So
Yeah.
it's nice Drum of Awakening, but I think Reboot Bot to me is the one I got excited about when I hear about it. And it depends on what the other future cards are or the ancient cards, right? But this is an item card. For each of your future Pokemon in play, choose a basic energy from your discard pile and attach to that Pokemon. So you need energy to the discard pile, but a lot of decks want that anyway. So we have Ultra Ball, we have Earthen Vessel, so we have ways to discard. I don't think we're really losing any discard cards because we don't have that many anyway. But it's just obviously the potential to up accelerate 6 energy if everything comes together on you is tremendous.
Yeah. There are a few things to talk about with this. There's a lot, right? So it's all
Okay.
to different Pokemon, and
Yes.
like it's not you don't need energy on all your Pokemon like ever, right?
Not usually. I mean, there's some decks do, but I don't know that the future decks are looking for that.
No, yeah, no, no, that's it. That's it. You figure it out. Um, it's
Okay.
obviously Toadscroll EX. That's what this is for.
Toad Scroll, right? With one Toad Scroll and all a bunch of future Pokemon on the
Yeah, yeah,
bench.
no. But no, it's like you're kind of wasting energy. So they need to look at the other future Pokemon. I don't remember
Right.
what the new ones revealed were, but I don't think they're like insanely good with this. I'm looking at them quickly. Yeah, they're not like anything crazy.
Well, let me say this, and we still are. I hopefully going to get more ancient and future Pokemon. I'm not sure how many more, but hopefully more because the future tool to me is one of the best tools around, but it doesn't see a lot of play because the future Pokemon aren't that good,
Well,
right?
we have like five, and we're getting like 15 in the next. Actually, I don't know if that's right, but we're getting a bunch coming up.
Yeah, yeah. But the future tool is awesome, right? What 20 plus damage and free retreat is a great tool. Again, the future Pokemon up to this point are pretty meh.
Well, yeah, or at least don't have a ton of synergy with the tool. But yeah,
Right.
anyway, so this is good. What are your thoughts? Like, how do you think this would be used? That's what I want to hear, and then I'll tell you how I think it could be used.
I I don't have a good answer to that yet because I haven't dug into the new cards well enough yet. I've been looking at them some. I don't have an overpowered thought for it. That's what I'll say. But I think it opens up a lot of things. That's where I'm at.
Okay. Um, that's kind of what I was expecting you to say,
And
but you
the
don't have a
nice
good reason. You're just making.
no, but it
No.
also is any type of basic energy, right? And I think there are some dragons and stuff as well, right? So it can be a and even if not dragons, you can have multi energy types in a deck, and it makes that more viable too.
Yeah, so like a toolboxy future deck.
Yes.
Yeah, and I saw a video. I think it was by Professor Folk. Sorry, did not finish watching the video. So if you're watching this, sorry, but I will do that. Um, I'd like glanced at, it, but I hadn't looked at the cards yet. So it's like it
Hmm.
seems like weird to watch. Um, but you can do a toolboxy thing, and one of the Pokemon you can pair it with is Iron Leaves EX. This one has its ability that says when you play it. Oh wait, maybe
Hmm.
this isn't as good as I thought. Okay, well, when you play it, you can from onto the bench. You can switch it into the active and move a bunch of energy to it. So this will kind
Hmm.
of power itself up and gets value out of Pokemon or energy spread throughout. And then I think you're looking at obviously probably like energy switch to power stuff up because a lot of the attackers are 3 energy. And then a lot of the future
Hmm.
attackers also are psychic, so you can use Zadu if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I was trying. What's the where you see in that Pokemon? It's not on this tab, is it?
No, it's on the ones released I think last week. It was
Okay.
on. Oh no, it was a little while ago. It was like 2 weeks ago. No,
Yeah, I
three
know I
weeks
was
ago.
looking at it, but I can't. Do you remember the title just so I can take a peek
Yeah,
at
it's the
it?
one with Walking Wake, Iron Leaves, more on the 23rd.
On the 23rd.
I think it's a
Okay. Oh, all the
page
way
back.
back to the 23rd. Why? Oh, okay. I see it. Yep. Thank you, sir.
Anyway,
So,
so I think that's interesting. I think it can be really nice. I've talked about Future Lost Zone. I don't
mhm.
necessarily think this would be good in future Lost Zone, and I do believe that has very much has the potential to be the best deck in format. I always say that Lost Zone is going to be the best deck in format with like some new thing, and it's always the best deck in the same way. No, I don't know. It's always it's really good.
Yeah, it's right near the top, right?
And you can do like a lot of different things with it as well, which is obviously good for it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think you'd play this in future Lost Zone. But I think the card's interesting. There are some new future Pokemon. So future Pokemon honestly are way more interesting than the ancient ones in my opinion. They
Hmm.
have kind of rapid strikey stuff, but more so they're similar to Team Plasma. And there's a deck called TDK. I don't know if that's the name of the deck. I
Okay.
really could be wrong on that, but it's the Team Plasma deck. Um, and the main cards, what I'm going to say are the main cards, which aren't
Hmm.
actually the TDK, but like Thundurus and Deoxys EX and Lugia EX. So those three
Yeah.
EXs, they've been quote pseudo reprinted. Um, Iron Hands EX is like Lugia EX. Iron Crown EX is like uh, which is it? Deoxys EX
Hmm.
and Thundurus EX was the last one we hadn't seen. So there's a Miraidon EX that's kind of like it. So that's the thing I figured I'd mention. And
Hmm.
then that deck could play or would play this reboot bot card, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it will be right. We have the one that moves energy to it when it goes into the active. That was which one? Iron Leaves, right? Which
Yeah.
can attack. And we keep now Thornton, that stays in format, is that correct?
Yes, it
So,
does.
so we can Iron Leaves from the bench. So you use the what's the whatever that tool
Reboot
card
bot, which is kind of a weird
reboot
name for it.
bot, and then you swing your Iron Leaves in the active, and then you Thornton into your like
I
Iron
think that.
Hands.
Oh, Iron
Or
Hands.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, then you can pull off Amp you very much with ease every turn, right?
Exactly. No, I think this will help like with like Amp very much, with Iron
Yeah.
Hands. I guess it's not like that good. Like, I mean, if you're
Yeah, I'm
playing like
not
a
sure
box, it's
that
like good, but like, well, we'll see. I think it's cool though. I think Psychic and Lightning as well are the two types for future. It
yeah, I mean
looks
Iron
like.
Crown's hitting 50 to 2, right? And you have the pinging with the Iron Valiant, so it makes those numbers kind of intriguing and such. So
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Oh, I guess K, which is Kyurem, is also kind of like Iron Crown. Actually, wait, is that the right Kyurem? Which let me pull this up. I probably shouldn't be. I'm getting off track. Eh, it's kind of like Kyurem. I don't know why Kyurem was good. Like Kyurem was kind of mediocre. But anyway, so yeah, I think that's it for those aspects, though. We'll talk about some other ancient and future Pokemon, but I think I want to talk about the trainers as well first.
mhm. Okay.
And I want to talk about hand clippers. What are hand clippers? Like, oh,
They're for the image is cut how you cut your hair with clippers that you hold in your hand. They're,
oh,
they're
I thought
hair
they were like
clippers.
nail clippers, but
So like cutting your fingers
for
off or
your
something.
hand. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe they'll call them. Yeah, we would probably call them hair clippers, not hand
Yeah, which
clippers.
is like aren't clippers like scissors as well? Like
They can be, but
I
but they're
don't know.
called clippers too. So
Okay.
I think some
Okay.
things are regional too. So I don't know if this is the final translation,
Yeah, that's like
but
kind of I was kind of like disturbed when I read that. But anyway, so the card the card does is this is really interesting to me as like a control player. I haven't
mhm.
played that much control recently because it's been too good honestly, so it's not as fun. But um it's an item both players discard cards from the hand until they have 5 cards.
Yeah.
Opponent discards first, and you don't do anything if you have 5 or less. But I saw someone say this is the only way to trigger the not the what's it? It's not Amoonguss. Yeah, Amoonguss from Silver Tempest, which when you discard it,
Oh,
um, so that's a
but your
thing.
opponent would have to choose to discard the card, right?
No, yeah, no,
Or
they
you?
would. No,
Oh, if
yeah,
your opponent, it's as if you discard Umungus from your hand by your opponent causing you to, you win the game. Is that what it is?
you don't win the game.
What does it do?
No, your opponent discards their whole hand. So
Oh,
no,
okay,
so here
sorry.
I'll read. I got
Okay.
the ability. It's because it's
No,
so
I remember it
crazy.
was this absurd card. So
Yeah,
yeah.
so surprise spores during your opponent's turn. So it's an ability during your opponent's turn. If this Pokemon is discarded from your hand by an effect of an attack, uh,
Hmm.
Oh wait, no, maybe just. Oh yeah. But from attack, an
So
ability
this is
from
not
your
an
opponent's
attack.
Pokemon, no, or an effect of an opponent's item or supporter card,
Okay.
then you
Yep.
discard your opponent's hand. Um,
So if someone plays hand clippers, but that's not a reason to want to play hand clippers.
no, that's a
It's a
reason to
reason to
not play hand clippers. Um,
right. If hand clippers comes big, then you start playing sticking a Mungus in your deck,
yeah.
right? That
Uh-huh.
that's he. So okay, so so it's that little silly conversation. But is there a good use for this card? Right,
Well,
getting to
I'm.
5 is. And why
Well,
do you
you
want
look
to
at
do
like
that?
Lost Zone, and they have like like I feel like you have like 15 cards in your hand. So then
So
like
it's
you lose 10 cards. That's like a really big deal.
yes. There are multiple decks that just build up huge hands that just keep drawing, and don't play much on turns. There are decks like that. Besides the one that attacks for number of Pokemon in hand, which is what the EX, right? I'm blanking on the name, but
Yeah,
you know
it's
what I'm talking about.
Tinkaton EX, or there's also Indeedee. Indeedee will be rotating, by the way.
Okay,
But yeah, so you can use it to counter that, obviously, but
I was trying to think: is there a
wait,
reason I
does
want
what does
hand
that for
clippers?
my low deck? Is that oh that's rotating, but yeah, and
Okay,
that's just supporters as well. I was thinking so. Yeah, hand
all right,
clippers is good, but then I think like with control, if you know that your opponent's down to 5, that's
yeah,
obviously that's like kind of high. You're not like winning the
hmm
game off of that, but it's something you can kind of work down from. And there's some other
hmm
control cards. There's Grabber, which removes Pokemon
oh,
from their hand as well.
yeah, and it is an item. Also, oh, Mill. So Mill wants this, right? Up, because are we losing Durant, by the way? It
Yeah, but
hasn't
there's a
seen
new
much
card that
play.
kind of replaces it.
Okay, and we
Wait,
have
did you
one
look through all
trio.
these cards?
I did a little bit. So but no, but this goes in a mill deck, right? Like when you're playing against mill, one of the things at least I do is I just don't discard. I just grow this massive hand till I get to like 20, 30 cards till I'm almost deck out, and then I play my Iono, right? And
Yeah.
here, like you have 20, you've done that 20 cards, 15 get discarded. Now I'm probably gonna lose the game. So it does help mill. I like mill. Mill is obviously horrible to play against. I think maybe worse than stall personally,
Mm,
because you just see random things disappear from you as it goes on. But this does help mill,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it helps like any like control style that control mill or stall.
I'm
Um,
also I'm trying to think: is there a reason I want it to reduce my hand, right? Because if it got smaller than this, then I might want it
well,
to
it does allow
do
you to just discard cards from your hand. So if you're like,
yeah,
oh, if you're playing Gardoriax, you could play this. You probably wouldn't, but like there are times
right,
like early on, somehow you get a big hand. I don't know how you're getting this big hand, but
right,
you get like say 8 cards, like 9 cards in hand. You need to discard a bunch of energies. You play this, and you
hmm
can discard a bunch of energies. Um,
right.
you could Iono into hand clippers to force them to get rid of one card. That doesn't seem that good, but it's a thing.
Yeah,
Um,
if you want to play the barrel engine, you hand clippers down to 5. You keep some ultra balls, and you can get down to almost to maybe a 0 card hand.
I
And bearable for
guess, but
5.
like,
I'm
why are
just
you
saying.
like having these massive hands with a barrel? Like
Why
that
do I
doesn't.
why do I have like a dozen cards and I don't want to play any of them? That's probably a better question. But
Yeah.
all
Um,
right, and then order box you don't like at all, right?
no, I think
You
order.
skip
Well, no,
that one.
order boss is interesting. I started with hand clippers because I thought the name was kind of weird.
Okay,
But you want to read order box? I heard some people saying this card's really good. I don't think it's really good. I think it's underwhelming, but
okay. So here's the downside. The first line: if you use this card, your turn ends. That's a major downside. Now, obviously, turn one going first or even second if you're not go attacking. That's fine. Search your deck for 2 item cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, shuffle your deck. So I was thinking, oh, wait, now I have guaranteed access to my A spec item, except now my turn ends and there's a lot of hand disruption. Then you play this and then you get Ionoed, right?
or you
So
get you
I'm
get
not,
hand clippered.
I get to choose though.
Yeah, no. So I think so. The one thing people are saying like, oh, it's good for stage twos, which it is, right? So you can grab rare candy and then something else,
Yeah.
which is good.
It's kind of, and I think we're losing Peony, right? The one is that, did I get it right? The discard
Yeah,
search
you
for
did, you
2?
did. I think you call
All
both of
right.
them like you always call both of them peony. They're not both peony, but yeah, the discard one's peony.
And I think that's rotating, correct?
It is, yeah.
So this kind of replaces that in a sense, right? You get 2
Um,
cards. two items. You don't get to use them that turn, but in a sense,
I
it does some of the
guess.
same thing.
Yeah, kinda.
I'd rather play Peony and then be able to use the rare candy that turn, right?
Yeah, but then you discard your hand, so you need to get the other stage too. But
Yeah,
like there's no evil incense, so I guess you could grab Peony for like Candy Master Ball, but obviously like that's not a thing that you can do because they're not together. So um,
yeah. So yeah. So I'm skeptical as to how good it will be.
yeah, especially we've
Control
seen
obviously wants it, I guess.
yeah, and we've seen cards like what was I gonna say? Oh, like so Rotom V, Zacian V I've seen play, but then like
Right.
um, what's the card? Then Sylveon V isn't like seen any play, which is like kind of weird. I mentioned this in my video where I like review these cards.
Hmm.
I didn't say that it is as just control, and then like Steven's Resolve was really good. That did search for
Yeah.
any three cards, which is better than two items.
That's a lot. Yeah.
It was a supporter, but at the end of your turn, you can play a supporter, then play this, though. Um,
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that it ends your turn is a big downside. So
well, yeah,
I
obviously, but
I mean, it goes in Snorlax stall, right? I guess. Now, the good thing, which I don't want to see that get better, the good thing for that is rotation. We are losing Echoing Horn,
yeah.
so just be. I'm thankful for that because that is an important piece
But there
in
was a
Snorlax
card I
stall.
didn't realize that we had that I think is pretty decent. Someone was like, this card isn't good. It's not like that good, but it's worse than Echoing Horn, but it's okay, and that's a man, what's the Pokemon that evolves from Mantike? Uh,
I don't remember.
Mantine, yeah, from Astral Radiance. Born to Shore. For one colorless, put a basic from either player's discard onto that player's bench. So that's an attack that does the same thing as
Hmm.
Echoing Horn, which is going to be
Yeah.
presumably played in Snorlax style. I think it is worth running, not as good as Echoing Horn by any means, but it's still pretty decent.
Y- y- Yeah, but obviously having an item where you can have your Snorlax sitting the active is more powerful.
Yeah. Um. Anyway, so that doesn't
Y-
really have to do with Order Box though.
No,
Yeah, I think this is
no.
pretty mediocre to underwhelming.
Yeah, it's not a card I'm trying to put into a deck list. I will say the hand clippers, that one actually intrigues me because it's a bit absurd, and I want to try to get something out of it. But that
Well, you want to read emergency board now?
yes, so this is a trainer. It is a tool, and Pokemon this card is attached to pays one colorless less to retreat. If that Pokemon has 30 HP or less, it has no retreat. And I have been seeing a lot of Serena EX lately, so now I have free retreat against that, right?
Exactly.
If they hit the active, and
Even if they hit on the
but
bench, you can still get free retreat on the bench. Now,
I
now we're
suppose
thinking outside the box.
I could retreat to the active spot now from the bench, right?
Exactly, exactly.
We had what escape board, right? Which that was what one less, and it went back into your hand when it
No,
was
that's U-turn board. Escape board
with the.
was, you could retreat if you're like asleep or I think but paralyzed, the ones that stop you from retreating,
Mhm.
as well, which was good with the Drashi that put itself to sleep. Um,
Right. So
yeah.
so those retreating tools were better than emergency board, is what I'd say. Because I don't think having 30 HP or less is what I'm striving
Yeah, I don't
for.
think that's gonna like ever happen, right? I mean, it could, but you
Like I
don't
said,
want
I've
to
been seeing
bank on
Serena
it.
lately, but otherwise, no.
But it's not
So
even
it's
that good
one
against
less.
Serena, right? Like you don't need to switch out. I mean, you kind of do, but it's not that
Yeah,
useful.
if they have the tool and you can't attack with that, right? And you can't have another way to switch.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably not. So one retreat, right? We had air balloon, which was two, so that was twice as good, assuming you ignore this 30 HP part. And we had these older tools that were better as well. You could be asleep, or it could go back into your hand rather than being discarded. So it's. I miss air balloon. I wish air balloon would come back, and I still do.
hmm Yeah, I mean, I think this is good with like, let's just say Mew's rotating. I don't know. Maybe
You
it's good
play
with
in Lost
Kelpie. It's good in
Zone
Lost Zone. It's pretty decent in Lost Zone. It's not amazing in Lost Zone though. Like,
and Maridon decks that like the anything that wants to play beach court, right? Could play this.
yeah, I think Lost Zone might play this. It might not play this as well because like you have Beach Court, which in my opinion
Right.
is better. It's different, but in my opinion it's better. And then you have also, well, you could stack it, right? Um,
So then you're two less on a basic only.
yeah. Um,
And of course, if it's an evolution, you still are only retreat cost of one. So it reduces by one, which beast court doesn't help evolution. So it could have value.
yeah,
Um,
I like this card. I think this card will see a bunch of play. A lot of evolutions have retreat cost of two, which is the issue, but I mean it's still like good.
yeah. Yeah, I guess. Like I said, a retreat cost is two usually for evolutions, and if it's a basic, we have beach court. So I'm not loving it. But
Yeah,
um,
I don't know. I think it'll see some play. Certainly down the line at some point. I think it'll see a bunch of play.
okay, maybe. I mean, look, I like tools like this, so I would like it to be good.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so now we have some supporters here.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
so
so for all you Serena EX fans, we got a card for you. Bianca's no, Bianca's Sincerity. The supporter, heal all damage from one of your Pokemon with 30 HP or less remaining. That is, yeah, no, Serena is getting bodied this
getting
set.
harsh. Yeah, it
Um,
is. And
for
just make
some
sure you don't
reason.
play this before you use your emergency board, right? You
Exactly.
retreat and then you heal up on the bench.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So I don't
uh,
know why this card exists. Like, it's a counter to Serena EX. It can technically oh, it can be used in Gardevoir EX.
yes,
Uh,
that right. Although we're losing the single prize Gardevoir, which is the card that would really love it.
yeah. I don't know. Like, what's the point of this guy? This guy doesn't seem that good.
Well, and like I said, well, there is a connection to emergency board because they're both targeting this 30 HP, right? And they're both revealed together. So uh, I don't know why, but yeah, I mean, I don't love it. I mean, healing's good, right? So, but it has to be 30 or less. There are some cards that you damage yourself now too, is becoming more of a thing. So
Yeah.
maybe you're damaging yourself down to 30 and then you're healing back. I'm not sure. I don't I'm not sure at the moment. I don't know what I'd do with it.
Yeah, I think Gardevoir EX is a use, and it's not an awful use. But aside from that, I don't think there's much. Or is
Yeah,
it counter
no,
Serena? But like, why are you trying to like? Why do you need a hard counter to Serena EX? That doesn't seem that useful.
no. I mean, it's understandable why they're printing hard counters to Mew VMAX because that was just dominating. But Serena's fine. It's not ending the world. So
Yeah.
just let it be.
Yeah. Anyway, then we have a supporter here, Ari. Look at your opponent's hand. Choose two item cards you find there and discard them. This is, I think, a great partner for hand clippers, as well as grabber.
Hmm.
So you can do this, and your opponent's
Yep.
probably gonna keep items, right? Because those are almost always good to have in your hand,
Right.
especially like Pokemon stars. And then they're gonna keep probably a Pokemon or two. So you can go
Hmm.
grabber, possibly two grabbers, Airy, and then all of a sudden like they don't have much. Unfortunately, they probably still have a supporter, which isn't ideal because that's kind of like
Right.
the one thing you want to get rid of. And as far as I know, you can't. Oh, you can wait. Luxray V's not rotating. You could do that. Um,
I mean, this obviously look. Snorlax Stall is going to love this card, right? Because they want to have those switch cards in hand. So
yeah,
boom, switch. And your opponent's crying, right? At that point, your opponent's crying, and if they're playing live, they hit the concede button at that point.
yeah. I think this card's pretty good for control.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah, for control, stall, and like in mill, it's a piece for mill too, of course. So yeah, I like the card. I don't know why they keep making these cards to make control decks better, but they do. So
Yeah, it's kind of weird because they like kind of don't like control. They kind of like obviously print cards for it. Anyway, I feel like you want to talk
yes.
about Great Tusk.
All right, Great Tusk. All right, I gotta find. Okay, so Great Tusk, which is ancient type fighting Pokemon, not the EX, and so collapsed crust collapse. I gotta remember these. It does for two colorless, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. If you played an ancient supporter from your hand this turn, discard three more cards from the top of your deck. Okay, and what the ancient supporter is what right now? We have one, right?
Yeah, we have Sada's Vitality, which is
Okay,
good.
which is good. It helps power it up. It gets one energy
Yeah.
onto this.
So I feel like this is like better than Durant. Like it has more HP, which is meaningful.
Yes.
And it
Yes, 140.
yeah, and it'll probably mill four, right? Like there are obviously
Y-
times when you mill one if you like miss a supporter, but like you really
Right.
want. And the other supporter is the I don't remember the name, but it's I think look at the top six, put two into your hand, discard the other four, which is like okay. It's pretty
Hmm.
decent.
Yeah, so the ancient we have this. It's just two colorless, so it's easy to power up. We have Fasada's Vitality. We
The,
have the new A spec that draws us a whole bunch of cards because you're going to want to fill up the board with Great Tusk probably.
mhm. And then you have double turbo obviously as well, which is gonna be good.
R- right, and we don't lose Palpad, correct? They reprinted that,
Yeah. I mean that
so
rotated already. Yeah. Or like
yeah,
the old one was out.
yes. So because if we're playing our like Professor Sada's every turn, we need to get that back. That's why Palpad, the deck wants Palpad too, I think.
Yeah.
Um, And yeah, so that's good. And it has the second attack that is not good. Although I guess if your opponent is not doing anything, Giant Tusk does 160, which is good on a single prize, but it's 4 energy. So that I don't feel good about that.
Yeah. And one I want to say this is a massive upgrade over the Great Tusk EX, which does mill five, but it mills five from you. Sounds worse.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I think this Great Tusk is pretty fun. I think it's very much like Durant. Like it's not the same. I think it's
It's
better than Durant almost. But
it
it's not.
probably is.
I don't know. It's easier to do, but like you don't really have as much versatility. I don't know if I love it, but I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I like playing mill decks. I have to give it a try. So and hope on it, but I certainly hate playing against mill decks. Like I said, they're very unfun to play against. So I'm going to try it, and I'm going to kind of hope it's not that good because I certainly don't want to see as much uh, Great Tusk Mill as we've seen Snorlax stall.
Yeah. I don't think you. I guess I like playing against Mill more. I mean, you like do stuff. So
What against Mill?
yeah.
That is true. That
Anyway,
is true.
and then I want to talk about the other two ancient Pokemon. These actually look really cool. I really harped on Wrong Move or no, not on these like ancient Pokemon before. Like they didn't really have any sort of
Hmm.
cohesion for a while. I don't think at all. I'm looking at the yeah, no, they didn't. But now they kind of do with these two, Roaring Moon and Koraidon. They are very much go hand in hand. Again, both with 140
Hmm.
HP to retreat. Vengeful Feathers for on Roaring Moon for 2 dark to 70 and 10 more for each ancient Pokemon in your discard. Then Koraidon for
Hmm.
fighting colorless Primeval. Wait, is that Primeval
Or
Battering?
Primeval,
Yeah, is that spelled
Primeval
right?
Battering. I think I am not sure. I no, I think there might be another I stuck in there or something, or some
Okay,
other
yeah, that
vowel, but
was
I'm not the best speller.
uh,
Anyway, so
it might
Primeval
be.
Battering does for fighting colorless 30 damage for each ancient Pokemon in play. So you want to get them in play, and then when they get in the discard pile, you're happy as well. So is this the rebirth of Mad Party, right? That's what
I don't
everyone's
know. I
hoping
wouldn't really say
for.
it's like Mad Party, but I'd say it's
I
more
know.
like, well, it's more similar to
The stage one, right? Um
Lichen Rock.
no, Wormadam.
Wormadam, yeah, Wormadam. I was gonna say Flareon
And you have
or
that
um
Houndstone.
Houndstone. Yes, yeah, it's probably most like Houndstone, which is one type. I was like Flareon
Hmm.
and Wormadam and Vespiquen or any Pokemon, as well as I think there's a base. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, so Roaring Moon,
Yeah.
it can get pretty like 70 bases, not bad. I mean, it's not amazing, but like it'll be pushing turn one because you can definitely attack with this turn one. It'll be pushing mid, like
Hmm. It can hit what a Cramorant can hit.
yeah. So I don't know. I like this guy. I think the two are gonna make like a fun little single price deck. That's gonna be decent. I don't think it'll be like that good, but then you stick on like future boost, no,
Right.
ancient boost energy capsule up to 200.
Hmm.
Oh, and it's ancient card as well. It's not Pokemon. Uh,
Oh, okay. So we get one extra for our
the
A
Roaring
spec
Moon.
too.
Yeah, and obviously Aspect's super good in this deck. I think
Hmm.
this is a cool like these two Pokemon are nice together. You'll play it with the Among Us guy, the Brute Bonnet as
Hmm.
well. So that's pretty good.
No, I like it. And Professor Sada's Vitality is good because they're 2 energy attackers. So it gives you some flexibility early, late, what you want to hit for type as well as what does more damage. And
I don't know. I feel
honestly, I
like you want to
probably
hit Dark type. I feel like you don't need to hit Dragon type. I'll just say that.
No, but the Koraidon does more damage early game probably.
Oh yeah, yeah. Crydon early, Roaring Moon late. Yeah.
And I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to put in at least one Great Tusk because there's a lot of decks that turbo through the deck, right? I mean, I have a lot of decks that I've been playing where I'm get through my deck close to single digits pretty quickly. And
Yeah.
so a Great Tusk if you, is a first off, it helps just if it gets in play or gets in the discard pile, but also that threat if your opponent gets too turbos through the deck too much, I'm gonna just wipe you out. I like that option too.
Yeah, I think that's cool. But anyway, I don't think these are super crazy. But they're fun. I think they kind of complete the ancient package, I guess.
Yeah, and look, they're fun single prize Pokemon to mess around with, right? Which I know I like, and I think you like, and a lot of people like.
Yeah. But then I want to talk about the future ones. These are kind of
Yeah,
cool. Let's talk about Iron Valiant first. The first attack is kind of useless. It's not useless, but it's not anything amazing. But then the
I mean
second,
it'd be for control, right? If anything, you look at the top four cards, rearrange
no,
them.
it's of your deck.
No, of your deck, I know, but if yeah, you're trying to set up your next turn.
Yeah, but no, there are better things. There are cards that like
Yeah,
search.
and if they own you or something, you're seeing all of them anyway, so it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter. So okay,
But yeah, you have Majesty's Sword for Psychic Colorless. You do 100, but if you played a Future Supporter for your hand this turn, you do 200, which is obviously a bunch. But then this can be boosted even more to I
hmm
mean, like by multiples of 20 with Ancient Boot. No, sorry, Future Booster Energy Capsule and Iron Crown EX. So you can be like one-shotting a bunch of stuff with this.
right. The three energy that's the tough part, right?
Yeah, you probably want Zadu, but then Zadu's obviously taking up bench space. And then I don't know. I think this card's cool. I don't think I'll play this in
hmm
my future Lost Zone because like you two playing a supporter, and the supporters are Cryptomaniac's Deciphering, which puts two cards on top of your deck, or Professor Terra's
hmm
Scenario, which like is it's like easy. It's like scoop up, but you discard attach.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think it's
So
pretty good. I think it's in like
okay.
in a future box deck.
It's just the energy cost really has me scared. What the A spec, right, puts one energy on it, right?
Yeah. I thought you were just saying
And
how
I
it like accelerates 6 energy. I'm like, oh, it's so good.
but the problem is that it gets one energy. I attach for one, and then I still can't attack unless I hit it with Zatu and switch to the active.
Yeah,
So
or
I
energy
it's
switch. I think energy switch is the play there.
yeah. Look, I mean, energy switch is a card that has it just brings up bad memories. It just always never seems to be in my hand when I need it, and I have it when I don't.
I
Just the
have fond
timing.
memories of turn one altered creation. The good old days. The good old days.
Well, see, but if we had the Intellion engine, I could get the item the turn I need it, then I could see it. But I know people are playing the energy switch these days, but it just, I don't
I
know.
don't love it in Roaring Moon, but I like it in. I mean, I think you kind of need it in something like this.
Y- Yeah,
And you only
you
need
you
one
might.
energy switch as well. Like, if you needed two, then it would be kind of problematic, but you don't.
Right. The problem is then you're going to get one shot probably, right? And then you got to do it all over again.
Yeah. Um, well, yeah, like,
Okay.
yeah, your energy switching. I don't know. It's a little weird. You could play with Zadu, and I don't despise that either. But then now, okay. Well, I should talk about Marathon as well. With the
Yeah.
speed peak for one colorless, you do 40, um, and search check for up to 2 basic energy and attach them to your future Pokemon any way
hmm
you like. And then your second attack for
Yep.
Lightning Psychic is 160, which isn't amazing, but not awful. But speed peak here is like really decent. If you are buffing it by 40, which is not that hard, then
Right.
you're one-shotting something, turn one going second and then
hmm
setting yourself up. And this is I said it's like Thunderous TX. I don't know if I said that. And yeah, I said it I think a few days ago. Um,
Yeah. Not here. So, right. You have the what's the future Pokemon that boosts the damage?
Iron Crown EX.
Iron Crown, and you have the tool that adds 20 as well. So, um, yeah, getting to 80s not bad. Accelerating, but after that early turn, I'm not loving it though. I will
No,
say,
but I do think well you're just saying like how hard it is to set up stuff like Iron Valiant, and this will be a way to
yeah.
do it. And if you are boosted by 60, your second attack will go up to
hmm
220, which is pretty nice. I mean, it's not amazing, but very doable and very
Right.
very decent.
Yeah. No, it's. certainly in a future box, and that's what I'm hoping for these ancient and future types is having some flexibility with it. So, and you search for any two energies, attach them any way you'd like. So you can put them together, separate them out. I like it.
Yeah. And then lastly, we have Iron Treads. Its ability dual core, which is kind of cool if it has a future boost energy capsule attached, is both fighting and metal. I mean, that's kind of fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, fighting's good to hit, right? It
yeah,
is metal
fighting's
now, so
yeah,
to add fighting is a plus.
yeah. This does open up the possibility of hitting both weakness and resistance at the same time. Technically, some of you may be thinking, no, it doesn't, because Pokemon that are resistant to fighting are either weak to dark or lightning. But no, there is a way to change weakness. But also, like, people don't play that. Like, it's a stupid question. Um, but anyway, then you have your attack, your passing wheel.
Yep.
What is that? That's a weird name.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. So, but
Anyway,
it does 60 damage. You move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon, which is good because you're probably getting knocked out, right? One shot. You're 130 HP basic, so single prize. So moving that energy helps cycle through your attacks.
yeah.
Um,
Also, I think this is like much worse than Miraidon. I don't think this card's very good, unfortunately.
60 damage isn't good enough, right?
Mm,
I mean, Miraidon, it's only 20 more than Miraidon, and Miraidon accelerates 2 energy. So
yeah.
that more than makes up for the 20 less damage. Yeah, 60. You're boosting it to like 100 or something. Maybe you can boost it up and woohoo! I one shot a Cramorant, right? But it's a lot of work just to do that.
Yeah. So and you need to accelerate energy, and so this card isn't particularly good, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think now we have to talk about the card that before the podcast we were looking at, and I think both of us, I think I did. I don't think you looked at as many cards as I do. Or I mean, you don't know the cards quite as well as I do.
No.
But you know them pretty well. But it's Relicanth. It's a basic Pokemon with an ability. That's all we're interested in
Hmm.
here. It's not searchable by Buddy Poffin, but yeah. So
Right. It's
ability,
100 HP. So, yep.
deep memories. Each of your evolved Pokemon in play. Oh, they don't need to be in play, but they kind of do. Each of your, I guess by definition, an evolved Pokemon has to be in play. Anyway, each of your evolved Pokemon can use any attacks from its previous evolutions. You still need the
Right.
energy. And this is a pseudo reprint of Shining Celebi. It's a reprint.
Hmm.
We've seen this effect before. So memory energy, and it's been good in expanded. Not so much in standard. But yeah,
Yeah.
so this is interesting.
Now, I'm just going to say there's a difference in terminology between evolved and evolution. So,
Yeah,
right, if you're not aware, so in evolution, like if you play your Archeops stage 2 directly on the bench, it's an evolution, but it's not an evolved Pokemon. So if you had a stage 2 that didn't have other Pokemon under it, it couldn't use those quote attacks on the other Pokemon because
but
it's
well, those
not
Pokemon aren't there
evolved.
either, so it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. Yeah. So it helps clear that question up, though.
Yeah. Anyway, and then obviously if you rare candy, you can't use the stage one. Well, assume yeah, I
Right.
guess you have to rare candy from basic to stage one, stage two.
Until
Um,
they add a stage 4, right?
yeah. Now there are like stage three is kind of like there's some stuff like that, but I don't. As far as I'm
Not
aware,
really.
you cannot rare candy any of them. So and anyway, so did you find anything? I found a few things.
Nothing particularly good. Look, you had mentioned it, like the Arceus V-Star, where you only have a single DTE in hand that turn. You can't do the 200 damage, but you want to accelerate with the energy. You want to use the V-Star power. So there's times that's occurred, but I don't think that's enough of a payout to actually want to put this in my 60 cards deck.
Yeah, maybe. Um,
And like Giratina V-Star, that could, being able to hit through effects, right? Because Mimikyu, I've been, winning games recently with Mimikyu in a lot of cases. So hitting through effects is important, which the V does, not the V-Star.
yeah. I mean, well, okay, the V-Star can KO Mimikyu with its V-Star power, but not with its regular attack.
Right. It can only do one, though, over the whole course of the game.
Yeah. But anyway, so the first one I'll mention here is something that someone pointed out to me in a comment, although I thought of it before, I will say. I think it was
Hmm.
Twilight Chomper Enthusiast. I don't remember, could have been someone else. But it was
Okay.
Regieleki, a V, and VMAX. And to me, this is the most appealing one. So Regieleki VMAX obviously is a VMAX, has a bunch of
Mm.
HP.
And that doesn't rotate. Is that correct?
No, they came out in Silver Tempest. So
Okay.
it has 310 HP and has free retreat as well, which is kind of cool. But then Regieleki V, it has switching bolt, but it
Mm.
doesn't matter that much. Lightning Wall,
Oh yeah,
however,
lightning. Yeah,
yeah, it does for lightning colorless. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 100 less damage from attacks.
that's
Uh,
true. That is a very good attack on it. I like that. I used that attack many times.
yeah, that being said, you're only getting up to 300 essentially, which is still a lot, but you know. But with Regieleki
Right.
VMAX, you're essentially getting up to 410 HP. And then there is Hero's Cape, I
And we
believe.
had yes, yep. And now we're at over. They have to hit over 500 to one shot. Yeah.
Yep. So they're probably not one-shotting you. They're probably not two-shotting you. They might,
Yeah.
but they probably need to like gust around you and then like switch you out and back in. Like that's so brutal to get rid of. So I don't know. I think that could be good.
Right, because Miraidon's sticking around. Obviously, we're losing now. We're losing Flaffy for the Lightning decks, but we have Electric Generator. Um, so it's viable.
Yeah.
And yeah, for something that's super tanky, that's very appealing.
Yeah. I figured you'd like that one. And then it's
Yeah.
kind of tanky still here we got, and I got like a list on my phone I'm looking at, and I only have like 6 cards in I looked through. Both of us looked
Okay.
through. Well, I looked through like essentially every card in standard. I might be
Yeah,
like
I
giving
went
up
through and I
because
kind
like
of skimmed them. I saw some things that were kind of control-ish, like you had some like things like a clutch type attack that stopped retreating, right? On
yeah,
basics that could be, but none of them were like overpowering.
yeah. I found a few control ones. I found a bunch of control ones. A few made the cut that we'll
Hmm.
discuss. But
Okay.
Lucky V and VMAX I think is the best one. But sticking with the
Okay.
Reggie gives a V star. This one I think saw play in standard with Memory Capsule. Like a very little amount of
Did it?
play in standard because it rotated very quickly after. And when I
Okay.
say it saw play, like it didn't really see much play, but like, so Regigigas V-Star is a Pokemon that has 300 HP, which is a bunch. Um,
Yep.
it has 4 retreat costs, which is not so good. And its attack says for 230 for 3, you can't attack next turn. It has a cool V-Star power, but
Hmm.
that doesn't really matter too much. What matters is you got Angry Whack on the V for 3 colorless. You do 100, and it does 10 more damage for each damage counter
Yeah.
on this Pokemon. If any Pokemon is now confused, that is a lot. Potentially, it's
Yeah.
probably going to be one-shotting like everything, assuming you're not getting one-shot.
Right. You're attacking with the V star. They hit into you, and then you angry whack them back. Right.
Uh,
General.
yeah, well,
That's
wait,
the
you hit him
ideal
with what?
scenario.
Oh, yeah, but you
You
need to
hit them
like
with your
switch
V
out.
star attack first. What's that?
You need to switch out though.
Oh, because it can't attack. It's not one. It doesn't say it can't use this attack.
Yeah,
Oh,
unfortunately.
so okay, and it's a double switch, and it's the retreat cost, of course, is insane.
Yeah,
Um, okay,
but I think that's like
but
interesting. Oh, you are confused after Angry Whack as well.
which
So
which which is useful. Um,
what do you mean? Well, it's bad.
confusing your opponent. Oh, I thought
Yeah,
you
you
confused your
confuse
opponent.
yourself. Mhm.
All right, well, that's a lot of downside. Look, there are. This isn't the idea of a revenge attacker, right? Which there are some earlier evolutions that evolved something that did have a revenge attack, I think, right? And that's a way to go
Yeah,
with this type of thing. Copy a revenge attack if it's not on the final evolution.
yeah. But anyway, so those are probably the two best ones. I think Regieleki is the best one. Next up, though, we got a
Hmm.
classic for control players and for general. That's the Curly engine. So obviously Curly and Gallade and Goat
Yeah.
EX are like very good. But then there's
Yep.
Ralts with memory skip, which says for one colorless does 10. You probably want to stop doing that 10, so probably stick double turbo on. But you choose when your opponent's attacks, active Pokemon's attacks during that next
Hmm.
turn. They can't use it. It's a control thing. It's like a decent control thing as well. So um, yeah, I
Right.
kind of like this.
I mean, they can switch out of it and switch back in,
Yeah, or
and,
retreat as
and
well.
it reset. Right. Yeah. And just to a different Pokemon too. So, yeah, yeah. I mean, it could have some play. Not a ton,
Yep. And
but
then
yes.
I got 3 more control cards for you.
Okay.
Um,
Good.
so some of your favorites. We got starting off with the slow guys. I don't what do they call these? I don't know, like the Slowpoke, Slowbro, Slowking. So,
Hmm.
first there's some like weird stuff. I couldn't really I don't know. So
So
there's
so these are. attacks on the slowpoke that you're gonna
Yeah, so
copy.
the slowpoke, you got which one is it? I just like imagine this card. Um,
Slowpoke, you heal 30 from yourself. I don't think
I
that's
thought
what
there was
what
one. Maybe there isn't one. I
because I
thought
did think I took a little look at it, but I might have missed something.
yeah, maybe not. Let me check. Let me check here. I don't know the Galarian ones or something.
There's tail
Uh,
fishing. Flip a coin. If heads, you search your deck for a card. I mean,
maybe I thought there was one that recovered a card. No, yeah. From Pokemon Go. There we go. I found it. So it's the second attack. I thought it was the first attack. So for
okay.
one water, put an item from your discard
Hmm.
pile into your hand. Um,
Okay.
so this is potentially good. And then you have a bunch of different Slowbros and Slowkings. You have Slowking
Yeah.
EX notably. And you
Hmm.
played with that, right? And it's
Yeah.
super good.
Yeah. I mean, super good's probably overselling it,
It's
but
kind of
yes,
that. But and the engine
it's
timings are
fun.
different. Um,
Right. And you have the we have the slow bro that wins us the game, right? That's the key
it
because
doesn't
you
win
always
you the
fall.
game. It like
You
takes
better hope
prizes.
so.
Well, it
If
takes
it
two
doesn't win you
prizes.
the game, you're losing with any
Yeah.
of these
No,
slow
there's
decks.
is there not a Slowbro that just wins you the game? I thought that at some point, not in standard, but I thought there
Was
was.
there an old one?
There's one that loses you the game. That one's kind
Oh,
of bad. Uh,
yeah.
maybe there wasn't. Maybe I'm just thinking of the one that wins the game, or it could have been some like super old card. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But so that was the one, and then there's two
Yeah.
more. We have, of course, the Great Tinkaton,
Hmm.
which is a good engine. We discard one, draw three. Very good.
Yeah.
And then
Hmm.
Tinkatink from, I don't think this is the right one. Tinkatink from Paldea Evolved. I think there are a bunch. But this one is just wrong colors. Put an item for your discard into your hand. Um, so yeah, that's like pretty decent. There's also the EX, which you could do, but I don't know. And then on a similar note, there's Magneton,
Hmm. Okay. Oh, from Magnezone. Okay.
and this is the stage one, so you can't rare candy because you'll skip it. But for one lightning, put two items from your discard into your hand. And that
Okay.
is good, right? Recovering items is good.
Yes, especially
S-
with ace backs.
yeah, you can recover specs. So you can use this one, and then you have
What
Magnezone EX, which has a lot of HP.
what's the HP on that? Like how is
I think
that's
it's
over 300?
330. Yeah, 330.
Okay. Um, yeah, maybe. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's interesting, right? It gives interesting options. The the re the Relicanth.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we're almost out of time. But which ones?
I think we're way past time,
No,
but
we're fine.
anyway.
We're fine. We're fine. But which ones do you wanna? I think we don't need to talk about all these. But which ones do you want to talk about? Have you looked at
Yeah,
them?
I didn't look at these as much. I couldn't. I lost this tab at some point when I was going
Okay.
through them. So
So real quick, there's Metang, which is kind of an energy accelerator. Raichu's not good. There's
Incineroar
Warchoki.
EX is worth talking about, right?
Yeah, okay, let's talk about that one. So you want to read the ability?
Yeah, so it's a stage two, 320 HP. The ability Adversity Act attacks for this Pokemon cost one colorless less for each opponent's benched Pokemon, and the attack cost is one fire and four colorless. So potentially, you're attacking for just one fire early on. You don't have to wait like the Radiant Charizard until they've taken a bunch of prizes. So that's quite nice. And obviously, most decks want a bunch of bench Pokemon. So
Yeah.
and it does 240 and it's and you burn them. So that's, so 240 plus so 260 is quite good, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Um, it's weird. Someone kind of compared it to Radiant Charizard, which is kind of true, but obviously this is a stage two. Stage two EX, which
Yeah.
is I don't know. I mean, it can survive a hit. It probably will.
Yeah,
Um,
it better, right?
yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, if you're just like one shot and stuff, it doesn't have to. Like
No,
against
but
Warring
then
Moon, you're just like boosh, 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 and then you've won. Um,
right. But
as
you
long
have to
as
set up a stage 2 every turn then. That's the hard part if you're whooping one shot.
yeah. Oh, there is TM Crisis Shot. Well, there's a bunch of TMs. You can use the
Hmm.
TMs for free potentially with this as well, which is
Right.
kind of cool.
But they have to be down to one prize, right?
Um, oh yeah, for TM Crisis Shot, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that one would be super useful, but it is a thing. And I think this card's kind of fun.
Yeah, I like
Uh,
fire decks. It's something I got to give a try to. I don't know how good it's going to be.
yeah. Also, okay, so let's talk about real quick the giraffe. No, for giraffe EX, it does ability. It's immune to damage done from basic Pokemon EX, which is kind of good, but I don't think it's good enough.
Mm,
We're losing Zoroark as well, so I don't think that's particularly impressive.
um, yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, basic walling's a thing, so it sees some niche value occasionally, but just occasionally.
Yeah. And then we got a few more here. I think the last one that we'll talk about today, we might talk about. If you want us to talk about some of them in the next episode, comment that down below though. Let's talk about for alligator. I think for alligator is kind of funny. So it has a
Mhm.
stage 2 180 HP, which is big, but we'll talk about that in a minute, or like in a second here. Torrential
Yeah,
Heart is the ability that once during your turn you put 5 damage counters on this Pokemon. If you do, this Pokemon's attacks do 120 more to your opponent's active during this turn. Um,
right.
and so Relicanth, I think, like I was kind of assuming a Pokemon like they would reveal Relicanth, the Pokemon that works well with it. If they
Hmm.
did, it might be this Pokemon, but it might not. So it doesn't work that well. But Great Wave for 2 water, you do 160. Can't use it next turn. And it does,
Hmm.
yeah. So 2 water, 160, which will be pushed up to 280, which is a lot.
Right. Yep.
And then on the pre-evolution, you have an attack that does 100. Or no, sorry, 10. They can't retreat, which will be pushed from 130 or 30, and you switch to the bench, and that's going to be pushed up to one 150 or yeah 150. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't love it with the basic that your Pokemon can't retreat because if you're doing a bunch of damage, you probably are knocking them out, so the retreating doesn't
Yeah, no,
help.
that doesn't seem that useful. But the hit and run, you
But
could do hit and run. Um,
yes, reverse thrust, depending if there's a good, and there are some good walling thing, right? Like the active that shuts off abilities of your active or something like that, right?
yeah, like yeah, flood and rain. So I think that could be cool.
Yeah, yeah. You have things. I mentioned the Mimikyu that does some walling, some different things. Klefki, different options to kind of mess with your opponent.
Yeah. Um, but anyway, I think that's it for today's episode. Right, there's none of these other Pokemon are that good. We might talk about them later. They have some potential. We didn't talk about Wugtrio EX. It's not that good. We can talk
Yeah,
about it later. It's funny because it's Wugtrio, but
I think it's a pretty. All in all, I will say it's looking like a Temporal Force is going to be a good set of cards.
yeah, probably the best. Is it the best set in a little while? The recent sets have been pretty good.
Yeah,
Like Paradox Rift was like pretty good. It didn't have broken stuff really, but it had a lot of very good stuff. Um, but anyway, I'm looking forward to this set. I'm looking forward to Paldean Face as well. I think it's gonna be kind of cool. But I don't think it's gonna be super like it's not doesn't have a ton of new cards. But anyway, we
right.
hope you enjoyed the podcast. We're gonna be doing um obviously another podcast next week. So comment down if you want us to talk about something specific. But we hope you enjoyed. As always, we're excited to see you in the next episode.
Take care.